The ancient Greek historian Herodotus famously called Egypt the gift of the Nile. This phrase, though simple, holds a deep and enduring truth about the land and its people. This statement encapsulates the profound relationship between the river and the civilization it nurtured. The Nile was not just a river, it was the lifeline that allowed a great civilization to thrive in an otherwise inhospitable desert. The Nile, flowing for thousands of miles through arid landscapes, was the lifeblood of ancient Egypt. Its waters brought sustenance and prosperity to the people who lived along its banks. Its annual floods, predictable and life-giving, transformed the surrounding desert into fertile land. These floods deposited nutrient-rich silt onto the fields, ensuring bountiful harvests year after year. This predictable cycle of inundation and recession provided the foundation upon which Egyptian civilization flourished for millennia. The farmers timed their planting and harvesting to the rhythm of the river, creating a stable and prosperous society. Without the Nile, there would be no Egypt as we know it. The river's presence was essential for the development of cities, the construction of monumental architecture, and the overall growth of the Egyptian state. Its waters sustained life, enabled agriculture, and facilitated trade. The Nile served as a natural highway, allowing for the movement of goods and people, which in turn fostered economic and cultural exchanges. The Nile was not merely a geographical feature, it was the very essence of Egyptian existence, shaping its culture, religion, and history. The river was revered as a divine entity, and its significance permeated every aspect of life in ancient Egypt. The Nile's annual floods were the cornerstone of Egyptian agriculture. Every year, monsoon rains in the Ethiopian highlands would cause the Nile to swell, overflowing its banks and depositing a rich layer of silt onto the surrounding floodplains. This fertile silt, known as black land, was ideal for growing crops. Farmers developed sophisticated irrigation systems to manage the floodwaters and maximize their agricultural output. They built canals and basins to channel the water and retain it for use during the dry season. This allowed them to cultivate a wide variety of crops, including wheat, barley, flax, and papyrus, which formed the staples of the Egyptian diet. The Nile was not only a source of life, but also a highway for trade and communication. Its navigable waters stretched for hundreds of miles, connecting Upper and Lower Egypt and facilitating the transport of goods and people. Farmers could easily transport their surplus crops to market towns and cities, while traders brought luxury goods such as gold, ivory, and exotic animals from distant lands. The Nile's currents also aided navigation. Boats traveling south could sail upstream, aided by the prevailing northerly winds, while those heading north could simply drift downstream with the current. The Nile provided more than just sustenance and a means of transport. It also furnished the raw materials for Egypt's monumental architecture. The river's limestone cliffs provided the building blocks for the pyramids, temples, and tombs that still stand today as testaments to the ingenuity of the ancient Egyptians. The Nile's waters were used to transport the massive stone blocks, weighing tons each, from quarries to construction sites. Workers used ingenious techniques such as ramps and levers to lift and position these stones with astonishing precision, creating some of the most enduring structures in human history. Section 5. The Nile's spirit, gods, festivals, and the afterlife. For the ancient Egyptians, the Nile was more than just a river. It was a divine entity, worshipped and revered as the giver of life and the sustainer of their civilization. The river's annual flooding was seen as a miraculous event, a gift from the gods that brought fertile soil and abundant crops. Without the Nile, the vast desert would have been uninhabitable, and the great civilization of Egypt would never have flourished. They believed that the Nile god, Hapi, controlled the annual floods and ensured the fertility of their lands. Hapi was often depicted with a blue-green complexion, symbolizing the life-giving waters of the Nile, and was associated with abundance and nourishment. Elaborate festivals were held to honor Hapi and celebrate the Nile's annual inundation. These festivals were grand events, filled with music, dance, and joyous celebrations. People from all walks of life would gather by the riverbanks to participate in the festivities, expressing their gratitude and reverence for the Nile's blessings. These festivals were marked by offerings, hymns, and rituals aimed at ensuring a bountiful flood and a prosperous year ahead. Priests would perform sacred rites, and the community would present gifts to the gods, hoping to secure their favor and protection for the coming year. The Nile also played a central role in Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife. It was seen as a bridge between the world of the living and the realm of the dead, guiding souls on their journey to the afterlife. The west bank of the Nile was associated with the realm of the dead, and tombs were often built into the cliffs lining the riverbank. These tombs were designed to ensure a safe passage to the afterlife, with the Nile serving as a constant reminder of the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Section 6. A legacy etched in water. The Nile's enduring embrace. The Nile's legacy extends far beyond the ancient world. It continues to shape Egypt's landscape, culture, and economy today. The majority of Egypt's population still lives within a few miles of the Nile Valley, relying on its waters for agriculture, industry, and daily life. Modern Egypt has constructed massive dams, such as the Aswan High Dam, to control the Nile's flow, generate electricity, and provide year-round irrigation. However, these modern interventions have also brought about new challenges, such as changes in sedimentation patterns and the need for careful water management. Section 7. Modern challenges. The Nile today. While the Nile continues to be a vital resource, it faces increasing pressure from a growing population, industrial development, and climate change. The demand for water is rising, leading to concerns about water scarcity and potential conflicts over its allocation. Pollution from agricultural runoff, industrial discharge, and sewage disposal poses a significant threat to the Nile's water quality. Climate change is expected to exacerbate these challenges, bringing about more frequent droughts and unpredictable rainfall patterns. Section 8. Conservation efforts, protecting a precious resource. Recognizing the critical importance of the Nile, Egypt and its neighbors are increasingly focusing on conservation efforts and sustainable water management practices. These include promoting water-efficient irrigation techniques, reducing pollution from agricultural and industrial sources, and fostering regional cooperation on water resource management. Public awareness campaigns are also underway to educate citizens about the importance of water conservation and responsible water use. International organizations are working with local communities to implement sustainable water management practices and preserve the Nile's ecosystem for future generations. Section 9. The Nile's future. Balancing needs and sustainability. The future of the Nile depends on finding a delicate balance between meeting the needs of a growing population and ensuring the long-term sustainability of this precious resource. This requires a multifaceted approach that involves technological innovation, policy reforms, and international cooperation. Investing in research and development of drought-resistant crops, improving irrigation efficiency, and exploring alternative water sources, such as desalination, will be crucial. Strengthening regional cooperation on water-sharing agreements and implementing equitable water allocation mechanisms are essential for avoiding conflicts and ensuring the Nile's benefits are shared fairly among all riparian countries. Section 10. Conclusion. The eternal bond between Egypt and the Nile. The Nile has been the lifeblood of Egypt for millennia, shaping its history, culture, and very existence. This mighty river has not only provided water and fertile soil, but has also been a source of inspiration and spirituality for countless generations. From the ancient Egyptians who worshipped the river as a god, seeing it as the embodiment of the deity Hapi, the bringer of fertility and abundance, to the modern Egyptians who rely on its waters for their livelihoods, whether through agriculture, fishing, or transportation, the bond between the Nile and Egypt is undeniable and enduring. This connection is visible in the daily lives of the people and the cultural heritage that has been passed down through the ages. As Egypt navigates the challenges of the 21st century, including population growth, climate change, and water management, ensuring the health and sustainability of the Nile is paramount. By embracing innovative solutions, fostering regional cooperation, and investing in sustainable technologies, and remembering the lessons of the past, such as the importance of harmony with nature and the need for careful stewardship of resources, Egypt can ensure that the gift of the Nile continues to nourish and sustain its people for generations to come. The river's legacy is a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of the Egyptian civilization, and its future depends on the collective efforts of all who cherish it.